Good evening, Boomi fans, and welcome back to Dallas, Texas. We're here at Boomi World 2025, wrapping up day one of our 2 days of power-packed coverage here. My name's Savannah Peterson, here bringing you all the excitement with Paul. You're still bringing the energy. Look at you, you're over here nodding, smiling.
I'm ready to go.
You're stoked, and I know you're very excited about this next conversation that we're going to have with Manny about the Agent Studio. Lots of announcements going on with y'all this week. Tell us, we're going to dig in.
Awesome, well, great to be here, and hopefully I can bring the energy as well.
So far, so good.
So far, so good. So Agent Studio is something that came out of a lot of feedback and planning from our customers. When last Boomi World, we released a set of our first 6 agents, and now we've got 33,000 in deployment. And one of the core feedbacks that we got from our customers is that, hey, this is great. It's helping us make our development easier, documentation easier, but how can you help me up-level my workflows? And make them agentic. Use this AI thing to automate my business better, right? And that's where Agent Studio was born. Now, as part of building Agent Studio, having gone through API sprawl, having gone through data sprawl and application sprawl, we decided there's going to be a lot of agents, and we're also going to build in governance through this product now that's called the Control Tower, right? And as we started to imagine it from a product perspective, we said we're not just going to stop at Boomi agents that our developers are going to build, but we're going to support every agent out there so that you have a single control plane to be able to manage all your agents. Because who knows, one of these agents might go rogue.
This is really great.
Might go rogue. There will be instances in which things go a little wild. So that governance key, that piece is going to be so critical. I think, and I love that that's been such a theme of the show. It's front of mind. It's obviously a very big part of the fabric of everything that you're building right now.
I think that there's a lot of interesting dynamics the way you shift it up, right? Like formerly being the Boomi AI Studio, right? One of the things that we would hear, as we talked about right before we got on, was, I cover app dev, right? I cover that day 0, day 1, day 2, and at DevSecOps, and anything in the CI/CD pipeline. What we were finding just even a few years ago is a lot of different silos in the development, right? And developing agents was basically being done in silos, right? And because nobody really knew how they interacted with one another. So one of the things I saw, especially at the keynote today, was the Boomi platform really kind of taking off and like being that one kind of a unified approach. That is what is an overwhelming response from developers. People want their bespoke solutions, but they want a platform approach to kind of deliver it. So I think that's a little bit an area that we can kind of unpack a little bit more on, especially on that. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, that's a great point. I think the platform aspect to it is really important, but then having this platform open, because you need to be able to connect to different systems, to connect to different agents,
hence the bespoke piece, right?
The bespoke piece, yeah. Now the platform, as we started building the Agent Studio, one of the things we quickly realized is that there's a lot of patterns and a lot of richness in the platform that we can leverage, right? And so one of the things that Steve showed was the agent step. So the agent step is, so when you think of the platform provides orchestration, right? It's got a canvas. Now I'm getting dry throat as well.
Sorry, we passed it on to you because it's so dry in this convention center.
So orchestrating your agents, right, is as simple as just dropping it onto the canvas and hooking them up, right? And hooking them up with traditional deterministic processes and these probabilistic processes, right? So from a platform perspective, we leveraged, hey, we've got this orchestration engine. How do we drop agents into it? The other part of it is an agent is only as good as the information it has access to.
Right.
And one of the things that the platform provides, the Boomi platform provides, is that it provides access securely to information, right? So when you create your connections to your NetSuites and your Salesforces, we bring that data in, we rationalize it.
But not just the access, but the governance, right? So when you start building these applications, right? We see lines of businesses are developing their own applications, right? If there's not those guardrails in place, the applications can go rogue.
Yes.
Right? And so that's where I think this platform approach, having the governance in place to access to the right data with the right use cases, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with the security, I mean, we've got a lot of data, exponential amount of data spiking right now with everything that's going on, and these agents are going to be able to access that data. You can't, there's little accidents that can happen that are
sure.
very unintentional. So talk to me a bit about, as you were developing this and the process there, how were you balancing the need for speed with the need for compliance and governance and all the safety measures?
Well, the compliance and governance we just put forefront. So we just said, hey, we're just going to build it into the design capabilities, but we're going to build a whole product that allows you to maintain and govern. So what that forced us to do is that we had two different teams, control tower team and the agent designer team. It forced the teams to work together because the control tower, in order to provide the governance, had to go to the agent designer team and say, I need you to expose these metrics to me, both design time and observability.
Yeah.
Because my experience won't light up unless you do it, right? So we built that in from the ground up as we were building it. The second thing is when a developer builds an agent, from a security perspective and a guardrail perspective, that's just part of the core experience. And one thing that is unique about our design experience is that we use AI in the background to build the agent. And so when you give it a goal, you say, hey, build me an agent that's going to help me pick my 80s outfit for the Boomi event that's happening on the first night. You give it that goal, yep. It will create a set of guardrails for you, right? And one of those guardrails could be, don't pick any 70s outfits, right? Or pick something appropriate.
Yeah.
That's probably a better one. But it will recognize based on that goal and create those guardrails for you. So it's a combination of, hey, we've got this control tower that's demanding observability and governance, and then in the design time capabilities, as a developer is building this, that guardrails get built into the agent themselves.
You know, I think that's actually a really interesting point that you just made in terms of, picking our outfit, for example, like the 80s appropriate. I didn't think about this, so I had AI design my nails for the show and all of your colors.
Nice.
And yeah, which I'm really delighted about. But so I thought about it in the positive impact, right? That's how we're all optimists at this stage. Oh, this is going to be really fun. But I didn't think, like, what if this particular style was offensive to a certain culture, for example, or this color pattern meant something very different to a different community. Kind of fun to be able to think about it on the other side of that.
Yeah.
To be able to check that out. So how long, I know this was a bit of a rebrand and acceleration through the evolution and maturation with you guys. How long have you been working on this? I mean, our agentic, last year when we were at Boomi World, we were calling them AI chatbots. So how long have you been working on Agent Studio?
Well, Steve coined the word agent. Apparently somebody told him he was the first one to actually publicly call them agents.
I didn't know that. That's cool. That's a fun fact.
Ask him about that next time. He's very proud of that fact, by the way.
Yes.
We've been working on, Boomi as a team has been working on the whole concept of AI and agents and productivity for many years, before, when it was just AI and predictive and algorithms, et cetera. But the whole agent work started before last year's Boomi World, and it has evolved, right? And it really customer driven, because the first wave was, how do we make those developers more productive with agents? And then now, how do we make what they're building more sophisticated, that it can do more, but it also, is better for their customers?
Well, you touched on something that, out of all the sessions we had today, I don't know, 9 or 10, 11 sessions.
Number 10 here.
Yeah, so a lot of sessions today. You touched on something that I think it's important that we don't gloss over. You touched on the word observability, right? And Control Tower, having that observability, that's a big part of this whole process. Having a lens on actionable insights that when you see something, you do something about it. That's important. So many organizations are in a very immature state, right? They can log, they can figure out, okay, well, there's things happening. They collect a bunch of data, right? And then they go, what do we do with it? We don't know what to do with it. So it's really, there's not automation, which is the next part of this whole process, but there's no automation that says, okay, if you see this, you take this action. information.
Right.
And now that's something that you're kind of really emphasizing, and I don't think we talked about that at all throughout the day.
Very faint whispers, but not yet.
Like even, yeah, I love your example of the nails, right? What if the guardrail said, hey, make sure that the color is not inappropriate.
Right.
Now you as the user may love that nail color. Wouldn't you want to know why it said it's inappropriate?
100%.
Right? And that's observability.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And so we want to ensure.
Great connection on that. I like
we
that.
want to ensure that we understand what it's doing and why it's doing what it's doing. But also to be able to do that twofold. One for the developer who's building the agent, but also for the user, right? The user who is going to pick the nail polish is very different than the person who's going to create the agent, right? But the user also wants to understand how it came up with that answer, why it made that decision, right?
Mm-hmm. And being able to trace that back too. Oh, this is knowing where that data came from to even inform it of that as well, to know how clean that was or accurate that was or anything else.
And it could be the case that it was wrong.
Right.
And so how do we make that change, right? So the next person gets the right answer. And that's part of it is reinforced learning, right? That comes into the entire environment as well.
Yeah, it is. It's actually, I really love that you went with me down the bandwagon of the nail polish.
I know, that's such a great analogy. I'm going to be using that for the rest of the conference. Now we just need to
tell everyone to come look at my nails.
We need to just now take the AI that picked your nail polish, the agent, and then get the robot to actually paint your nails. That's what we
So
need to
it's
do.
funny that you say that, because I'm actually going to write an article about this whole experience because it's been kind of fun. But I was thinking, the human in the loop in this case was my nail tech yesterday, and so I was thinking to myself, like, okay, well, how will this? Will it be a machine? Will it be a robot? Will it be like the Jetsons, where I just go down a little jet bridge before I come here, to an event, and that all gets taken care of? Who knows? It's kind of fascinating. But I do think, even just thinking about the patterns we might not recognize. If I put my hands together, maybe that would be something offensive as well. Like there's so many different angles of evaluation that we can get from these decisions now, and confidence thereof, as long as we're working with great foundational data to be able to do that. I am very clearly, obviously excited about AI fashion. I want to ask you a personal question, Manny.
Sure.
What gets you most excited about our future as a human? Weekend Manny. What would Weekend Manny get excited about?
Weekend Manny?
Yeah.
As it relates to AI or just in general?
Well, I mean, now I want to know both.
Okay.
Yeah. I was thinking more on the AI train, but now I'd love to hear what
I mean,
you have to say.
on the Weekend Manny, it's spending some downtime golfing with my two beautiful girls who are gone to school and will be visiting back in the summer, being an empty nester. On the AI side, I am very excited at work to be able to leverage the AI with my teams to be more productive. So you asked this question of, how long have you been working on this?
Yeah.
And I think the kind of underlying statement there is that, hey, Boomi's innovated in this space. We're not just talking about it. Our customers, we're delivering it to our customers, right? It's GA, it's available to our customers.
And it's doing it for yourself internally as well, which is also kind of interesting.
That's right. It helps me as a product person organize, synthesize, automate, also close the gap between what I do, my designers do, what my coders do, so we can be much more innovative. From just being a geek at home, I've got an Apple Vision Pro, and I talk to ChatGPT on my Apple Vision Pro, do some research and stuff, and then just interesting topics. Find out what I should actually watch today on my massive 100 by 100 virtual screen. So many cool things.
Yeah, that is cool. That was great.
Well, and that also ties back to what we're doing here, right? I mean, there's a lot of things. Just the fact that you're talking about the nails, and you're talking about some of the fun things that you do on the weekend. A lot of that, historically, it took a developer to write the code to do this, right? To understand this, right? Where now the end user can go, pick the nail colors I want, show me on Apple Vision, what I want to do, right? And your low-code platform allows for that.
Yes,
right? And
give it a goal.
But the developer productivity is now pushed way higher.
That's right.
And but I think it kind of bifurcates the developer community, where you have the citizen developer being able to self-service.
Yes.
And not have to worry about writing actual code, but do natural language processing like you were talking about. Or you can have a professional developer write code and it still is equally powerful because the platform allows us to go in either direction.
Absolutely. Vibe coding.
Yeah, vibe coding, right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like that, and then, I was using Copilot to do this. I uploaded the Pantones for the show palette, thanks to Greg. Shout out to Greg for sending all of that over to me ahead of time so that I could do this little experiment. But when you're, then I get to be essentially the developer of my nails using NLP to say, oh no, I want something a little more creative than that. I want something a little more fun. I want something playful. This is a playful, community-focused show. It was such a fun iteration cycle, and it was one of those things where I love that I'm going to be able to talk to so many people about what we do in a way that's accessible.
Yes.
Because of my fingernails. Like, it's such a...
Very cool. Or your kicks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, actually my kicks are custom as well. We got a whole kicks thing. That's how this conversation got started, was I was asking for the color palette to pick my shoes. So, and then it led to the nails, and now here we are. So this is...
There you go. That's how we have fun with AI.
So real world applications, folks, out in the wild, being implemented. All right, Manny, I've got one final question for you. Because, gosh, you're sitting in a really interesting spot within Boomi. You get to have your hands on all the very fun, new, exciting stuff that's happening.
Yes, data and AI.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Well, you can't have one without the other, really, at this stage,
That's right.
at least in terms of value creation. What do you hope to be able to say when we're at Boomi World 2026 that you can't say today?
I would love to be here with thousands of customers having, telling their story of how agentic AI has improved and automated their businesses, their workflows, et cetera, right? Just a line of people on
We'll just
the
have them
stage.
come up we'll just have
One at a
them,
time.
we'll do
One at a time.
little 90-second soundbite interviews with you, and we can have the whole breakdown of how they've achieved their goals. That's awesome.
I'm really focused on making customers successful with agents and not getting lost in, hey, what's the latest protocol, what's the latest model, et cetera, right? How do we actually make this real for our customers? Get them off the starting block and deliver value to them, so. I
love it. I look forward to talking about it. Manny, thank you for being here. Thank you for humoring my Manny. And now we got to have this conversation.
Oh, thank you very much.
And thank you, Paul. And thank all of you for tuning in wherever you might be. We're here in Dallas, Texas at Boomi World 2025. My name is Savannah Peterson. You're watching theCUBE, the leading source for enterprise tech news.